We're doing a deep dive today into, well, really one of the biggest shifts maybe in history. How nations actually do warfare. Forget the last couple of centuries, the Industrial Revolution stuff, mass, big machines, logistics, that's changing. The sources are clear. We're in the algorithmic revolution now. The goal isn't just mass anymore. It's all about gaining a cognitive edge. Our main source for this is Chandra Nath's AI for the Military, a comprehensive guide. It's pretty dense stuff, honestly. So our mission here is simple, give you the essential takeaway. How is AI really transforming military doctrine, speed, and crucially, the ethics of it all, globally?
It really is a fundamental rewrite. And what's fascinating, I think, is how AI flips the whole script on deterrence. It's moving away from this contest of mass, how many tanks, how many planes, to a contest of mind. And speed, pure speed, operational advantage. It's now about faster sense-making. Can you process information quicker? Can you deploy distributed autonomy effectively? And, this is critical, the algorithmic trustworthiness built into your systems. Think about it. If the enemy's AI hesitates or flags low confidence, their whole operation stalls. Your speed just wins.
I like that algorithmic trustworthiness.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack the speed element, because that feels like the absolute core of this algorithmic warfare idea. For decades, command was taught using the OODA loop, right? Observe, orient, decide, act.
Right.
A very human cycle, limited by human speed.
Exactly. That human bottleneck, that's what this generation of AI aims to, well, basically eliminate. The source calls the result a machine-augmented, AI-accelerated decision system. Human commanders. They're still responsible, yes, but they're sharing that loop with autonomous agents. Agents that pre-process data, generate options almost instantly. The time lag between observe and act, it's compressing towards zero.
And the major powers, they're not waiting around. They're scrambling to bake this speed into doctrine. But it seems like they're all taking pretty different paths.
Oh, absolutely. And their approaches really reflect their existing structures and philosophies. Take the United States, they're pouring resources into Joint All-Domain Command and Control, JADC2.
JADC2.
Yeah, think of it as trying to replace hundreds of old separate networks with one massive real-time military operating system, fusing data across air, land, sea, cyber, space, all instantaneously. It's a huge infrastructure play for total situational awareness.
Okay, but alongside that tech push, the U.S. also has its DoD ethical AI principles. Responsibility, traceability.
Right, and that tension is key. Reliability, governability.
Oh.
Those are the watchwords. NATO kind of mirrors that ethical commitment with its trusted AI idea from their 2021 AI strategy. For them, being an alliance, the big focus is human control, interoperability, and resilience. Making sure 30 different nation systems can actually talk to each other reliably.
Okay, now stepping back, the contrasts become really stark. China, for instance. Their doctrine is built on civil-military fusion. Can you explain that? It sounds like more than just cooperation.
Yeah, it's way beyond cooperation. It's state-mandated synchronization, a whole-of-nation mobilization. Basically, commercial AI research, private company capabilities, IP, it all has to be available and synchronized for military goals. It's a total state alignment. And arguably, it lets them move much faster than Western market-driven innovation.
And Russia. Different again. It seems less about matching hardware and more about hybrid warfare, specifically cyber and information confrontation.
That's their sharp edge, exactly. Information confrontation. It's about achieving psychological and information dominance. Using AI to find societal weak points, deploy deepfakes, run influence campaigns, attacking the adversary's will, their mind, not just their military assets.
And India. They're building institutions like the Defense AI Council, DAIC.
Precisely. Coordinating across their services, using innovation hubs like IDEX. They're tailoring adoption to their own defense industry and, their specific regional threats.
Okay, so that's the big strategic picture. But how does this actually look on the ground? In a conflict. Let's talk levels of war. The military usually thinks in 3 tiers, right?
That's right. Strategic, operational, and tactical.
High-level policy down to the frontline fight.
Exactly. Strategic is grand strategy, national goals. Operational is managing campaigns in a theater. Tactical is, well, the actual combat. And AI is changing all 3.
So strategic level first. AI is changing how nations even think about deterrence.
Fundamentally. At the top, leaders are using AI for predictive defense analytics. Running countless scenario simulations. They use strategic AI dashboards to figure out force posture, assess future risks. It's about anticipating moves, not just reacting, getting ahead of the curve.
Moving down a level then, operational. The theater commands running the campaigns.
Right. Here you see things like AI-assisted joint operations centers, AIJCs. These systems automate stuff that used to need huge staffs. Logistics planning, synchronizing intel feeds, and things like predictive maintenance. AI monitors, say, a jet engine's data streams and predicts when it will fail, so you fix it before it breaks. Huge for keeping assets ready.
And then the sharp end, tactical level,
Yep.
real-time targeting, man-on-man teaming. Okay, wait. The source mentions leaders needing confidence interval literacy. That sounds
Yeah.
complex, like you need a stats degree to lead troops.
Huh. Yeah, it does sound a bit like that, doesn't it? But it's more practical. It's about managing trust under fire, really. The AI might suggest a target, right? But it gives a confidence score. 92% certain this is target X. Literacy here means the commander's trained ability to judge that score. When is 92% good enough to act now? When do you query the AI, show me why? And crucially, when do you just override it? Especially if that confidence number dips low or doesn't match other inputs. It's risk management informed by the AI's own uncertainty.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
It's about interpreting the machine's confidence. Which brings us to that nightmare scenario in the source information overload. Vignette 1, Brigade HQ under data saturation.
Right. Picture a command post trying to manage a fast, chaotic fight. They're getting data streams from like 40 UAVs at once, plus cyber alerts popping off, plus maybe social media feeds showing civilian movements. It's just overwhelming. A human team literally cannot sift through that much raw data fast enough to make timely decisions.
And the source says that's the core problem. Filtering the noise. Humans are too slow. The delay itself gives the enemy an advantage.
Exactly. AI tools become the only way to filter that noise in near real time, to surface the, say, 3 or 4 critical, verified pieces of information the commander needs to act. This completely transforms ISR intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. It goes from just describing what's happening to being prescriptive, telling you what's likely to happen next or what you should do about it.
Can you give an example of that prescriptive jump?
Sure. Look at automated image analysis. Deep learning AI can scan, petabytes of satellite imagery, instantly spot tiny changes, a new trench, vehicles moving, damage assessment. It flags only the significant changes for a human analyst. That data then feeds into predictive intelligence. Threat assessment models can fuse those image changes with, say, troop movements and unusual comms signals and generate an actual risk score. High probability of attack in Sector B within 6 hours. That lets commanders be truly proactive.
The speed, the scale. It makes the whole governance and ethics discussion absolutely vital, doesn't it? If decisions are happening algorithmically fast, you need strong institutional brakes to maintain control and coherence. What kind of frameworks are we talking about?
Yeah, you need structure. The source points to needing a national AI command framework, something that links the research labs, the operators, and the oversight bodies in a clear, auditable way. And for that oversight, formal AI review boards. These can't just be tech people. They need legal experts, commanders, scientists, and civilian ethicists. And critically, they need to review the tech before it gets fielded, not just after something goes wrong.
Okay, and the big ethical minefield is always autonomous, lethal decision-making. That question of meaningful human control. Where is that line?
That line is, well, it's fiercely debated, and frankly, nobody quite agrees internationally yet. But it's not just about lethal autonomy. We also have to grapple seriously with algorithmic bias.
Bias in the AI itself.
It comes from the training data. If the data used to teach an AI what a threat looks like is skewed maybe based on old data from one specific region or biased reporting, the AI learns that skew, so it might misidentify things or assign higher risk unfairly in new environments it wasn't properly trained on. That could be catastrophic, leading to wrong targets or misthreats.
And this reliance on hyperspeed,
Mm-hmm.
it makes the whole system incredibly fragile too, right?
Right.
If everything depends on algorithmic speed, couldn't one clever adversarial attack just gum up the works?
That is a huge vulnerability. The threat of adversarial attacks is constant. Things like model poisoning, feeding the AI subtly corrupted data during training to make it unreliable later, or attacks designed just to create noise and overwhelm the filters. Which circles back to the need for explainability and transparency. Why did the AI recommend that? If it's just a black box, commanders won't trust it when the pressure is on. Trust collapses without understanding.
This is where looking at real-world examples gets really interesting. How are nations actually dealing with this? Let's take 2 cases from the source's analysis. First, the U.S. Project Maven.
Ah, Maven, a classic case study. It was an early push to use AI for ISR, essentially, analyzing drone footage faster. Technologically, pretty successful. But it slammed into this wall of ethical protest, mostly from inside the tech companies involved. Google employees, for instance, didn't want their work used for lethal targeting. That internal resistance was actually a major driver for the DoD creating its formal ethical AI principles.
So the tech worked, but forced an ethical reckoning.
Exactly. Technology success driving institutional change.
Okay, contrast that with NATO's approach, DIANA, the Defense Innovation Accelerator.
Diana is interesting because it's about agility across an alliance. It's a distributed network for innovation. Its success hinges on two things: federated experimentation, letting different groups try different things simultaneously, and enforcing a common trusted AI charter. That charter demands things like traceability and explainability right from the start, trying to build that ethical baseline across all 30-plus member nations, even with diverse tech.
So looking across all these different national strategies, US, NATO, China, Russia, India, what's the big takeaway, the core lesson?
The source is pretty clear on this. You can't just measure military AI capability by speed or raw tech power alone. That's dangerously simplistic. It argues you have to assess across 5 dimensions. Is there doctrinal coherence? Is the system operationally resilient? Does it have strong ethical grounding? Is the technological maturity actually there? And, crucially, is the institution adaptable enough to manage it? If any one of those pillars is weak, the whole thing is brittle, vulnerable.
It really seems like AI integration is blurring that line between planning and execution almost completely. And the enduring challenge isn't just mastering the tech. It's keeping command and ethics coherent while everything accelerates.
Absolutely. And the acceleration we're seeing now, that's just the start. Look ahead, say 5 to 15 years, the midterm. We could be seeing things like practical quantum computing integration into these systems.
Yeah.
Or neuromorphic computing chips that mimic the human brain.
Okay, put that in perspective. The speed jump we're talking.
Yeah.
It's like going from horse and buggy calculations straight to, well, something we can barely conceive of, applied to decision-making.
It's that kind of leap, potentially. And if or when that kind of power becomes available, even to a few actors, the strategic implication, it almost guarantees an escalation of the AI arms race and likely the emergence of fully autonomous warfare ecosystems. So the provocative thought for you, for everyone listening, is this. When your adversary's decision cycle isn't just fast, but quantum accelerated, and their systems are designed to operate in days with no human in the loop, how do we collectively even begin to think about managing escalation on a global scale? How do you de-escalate with something that thinks that fast?